Manny Pacquiao's long-awaited return to the boxing ring may be facing a major setback, as reports indicate that his planned world title bout is now in jeopardy. The development comes after the sanctioning body overseeing the title ordered the current champion to face a mandatory challenger, potentially delaying or even canceling Pacquiao's highly anticipated championship clash. Pacquiao, 46, had been eyeing a comeback for months, with multiple reports suggesting that he was closing in on a deal to fight for a world title early next year. The Filipino boxing icon, who has not fought professionally since his 2021 loss to Yordenis Ugas, was reportedly targeting a fight against WBA welterweight champion Eimantas Stanionis. However, the World Boxing Association has now ordered Stanionis to defend his title against his mandatory challenger, effectively throwing Pacquiao's plans into uncertainty. According to sources close to the situation, Pacquiao's team was in advanced negotiations for a title shot that would have seen him attempt to become the oldest welterweight champion in boxing history. But with the mandatory defense now in play, the WBA is unlikely to approve an exemption for Pacquiao, meaning Stanionis must face his mandatory before considering any voluntary bouts. This decision is a significant blow to Pacquiao's comeback campaign. The 8-division world champion had hoped to make history once again by reclaiming a world title nearly 2 decades after his first. Pacquiao's camp, led by longtime advisor Sean Gibbons, has expressed frustration at the ruling, emphasizing the global attention and financial benefits that a Pacquiao title fight would bring to the sport. The fans deserve a fight like Pacquiao vs. Stanionis, a source close to Team Pacquiao said. Manny is ready, motivated, and in incredible shape. This was supposed to be a major event for boxing, but politics in the sport are once again getting in the way. Pacquiao, who has been training consistently in General Santos City, had already begun light sparring sessions in preparation for his potential January 2026 return. The fight was rumored to take place under the Top Rank banner, marking a reunion with his former promoter Bob Arum, who helped guide Pacquiao through some of the most successful years of his career. However, the WBA's latest move changes the picture entirely. Stanionis is now expected to face his mandatory challenger, possibly Cody Crowley or another top-ranked contender, sometime before the end of the year. That timeline would make it nearly impossible to schedule a Pacquiao title fight for early 2026. This setback could force Pacquiao's team to consider alternative options. One potential path is a non-title comeback bout against a notable opponent, such as Mario Barrios or Keith Thurman, both of whom have expressed interest in facing Pacquiao again. A fight with Thurman, whom Pacquiao defeated in 2019 to win the WBA Super welterweight title, would serve as a high-profile rematch that could draw massive pay-per-view numbers, even without a title on the line. Another option could be negotiating with a different sanctioning body for a vacant or interim title opportunity. Given Pacquiao's global appeal and legacy, it's not inconceivable that one of the major organizations, the WBC, IBF, or WBO, might be willing to sanction a special event featuring the Filipino legend. Pacquiao's return has been one of the most talked about stories in boxing this year. Despite his age and time away from the sport, Pacquiao's discipline, work ethic, and fanbase remain unmatched. His comeback journey has been closely followed by fans across the world, especially in the Philippines, where he continues to be celebrated as both a national hero and a sporting icon. Still, the mandatory ruling highlights a recurring issue in professional boxing: how the business and politics of sanctioning bodies can complicate major fights. While mandatory challengers are meant to ensure fairness and competitiveness, they often stand in the way of more lucrative and fan-demanded matchups. If Pacquiao's team cannot reach an agreement or convince the WBA to reconsider, the boxing legend may have to pivot his plans entirely. Some insiders suggest that Pacquiao could still headline a major event in January, potentially against a ranked opponent as a tune-up fight before seeking a title shot later in the year. For now, however, uncertainty looms large. Pacquiao's comeback fight, which was shaping up to be one of the biggest stories of 2026, now depends on how the WBA and the current champion proceed with their mandatory obligations. Manny Pacquiao has defied odds his entire career, overcoming poverty, beating legends across 8 weight divisions, and cementing his place as one of the greatest boxers of all time. This latest obstacle may just be another challenge for the Pac-Man to overcome. Whether or not he secures a title fight in his comeback, one thing remains certain: When Manny Pacquiao steps into the ring again, the world will be watching.